welcome. Anna here, just a basic girl with a little extra. It's Thursday, and I am so thankful that you guys are here. I am trying to check my camera a little bit because I had to switch cameras. And do you see that crooked thing? Yeah, like it's not positioned correctly, but as long as you can see me, okay? So I hope that that doesn't distract you much. And then I have a mess right there and I didn't notice. But anywho, I am so glad that we are here today because I have a great topic. Great topic. Marcus, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much. You are such a trooper. Thank you. And anybody else, if you're watching, please let me know in the comments. I would like to interact with you. I have an amazing guest. But before I present her on screen, I want to remind you, if you have tracked along with me during the month of August, we've been talking about youth. Remember, because I told you they scare me because they're taller than me. And we've been trying to learn some ways on how to empower and communicate better with our teenagers. But as we've been talking about, human trafficking and how to keep them safe, and what are the things that we need to ask them, and what else did we talk about? Oh, we talk about their temperaments and how to recognize those and empower them. Today, we are going to talk about how to better listen and talk to them, and not just teenagers, but everybody around us. I found this amazing treasure, because I call it treasure. It's not a tool anymore. It's a treasure that I am starting to implement in my own house. And whoa, has just an hour ago, I was about to have a discussion with my husband, and I was able to compose myself and say, www, what was Miss Brenda will say about this. So I would pull out my chair, and when you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. And I was able to navigate through that conversation, and it didn't end up in conflict. And I was like, whoa, this really works. But, and I wanted to share with you something here because I need to pull out the word. This is James 1:19. It says, "Dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." I have read that verse so many times, friends, and I am very quick to speak, very slow to listen. Like I have the verse all, you know, um, in the wrong places. So here tonight, I have a guest that is going to put all those things in the right places. And without any further ado, she's an author, a coach, a speaker, and just a treasure herself. I'm going to introduce you to my hopefully new friend, and for a long time, Miss Brenda Harkins. Hello, Miss Brenda.
Hi, Anna. I'm so glad to be here with you. And I love that you shared that you used the chair. That's wonderful.
Yes, that what an amazing and easy tool to use. But before we start completely with the conversation, I have something for you to thank you for being here and giving us your time and your wisdom. Are you ready?
Okay. Yay.
Yes, I got a little confetti for you because I'm so happy that you're here. Well, Miss Brenda, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and what is your superpower? What would you say is your superpower?
What is my superpower? Okay, well, a little bit about myself is that I'm a wife, mom, grandmother, 7 kids, 12 grandkids, coach, artist. I don't know where that came from. No.
Well, I think in the writing there is some art, so I would
Awesome. There
say
we
yes.
go. Yeah. My superpower, I think my superpower is being able to connect. to the heart of people. I absolutely love connecting to people at a deeper level. I don't like the superficial. And so, yeah, I love connecting at a deep level, at a heart level, at a real level. Um, and yeah, I think that'd be my superpower.
Yeah. Well, it sounds very powerful. you know. So I want to talk like as you might have heard, we're all this month we've been talking about how to communicate and how to make a better connection with our teenagers. And so I stumbled into somebody that knows you and said, "Hey, you have to read this book." And I was like, "Oh, let me check it out," because the just the title of the book, "Loud is Not a Language." I was like, okay, that's probably for me. I started reading the book and it's been an amazing journey and I'm not done with it. So I've heard a couple of things that comes at the end of the book and I'm excited about that. So maybe you can tell us a little bit of more exactly why am I so passionate about your book?
Why are Well, I hope I know why you are. So loud is not a language, is not anything that I thought up. It was a phrase that fell into my head when I was at a social dinner back in 2016. And so the conversation around the table turned political. And this was 2 weeks before the Clinton Trump presidential
Oh,
elections.
wow.
And it was a business dinner, so there was a mix of people there, and there were people that were very pro Trump and very pro Clinton. And so it got loud. And it got loud not just in volume, but it got loud in attitude. Really, I think attitude is worse than
Mhm.
volume. I mean, sometimes we need to be loud in volume, you know?
Right.
That loud attitude that says, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm not listening to you, what's wrong with you, you know, that arrogant, dogmatic kind of attitude. And so I'm sitting there thinking, ooh, what do I do? You know, do I enter this conversation or not? And the phrase just fell into my head. Loud is not a
Mhm.
language. And I know that
Yes.
the Lord dropped it in. And I was just pondering that as I'm watching this crazy scene play out in front of me. And I realized that, you know, language is designed to communicate. It should
Mhm.
be reciprocal. We should be able to share ideas and thoughts and understand each other's perspectives. And when we're loud, especially with attitude, it just shuts that down.
Mhm.
We're not able to communicate. And so yes, I developed through much help with the Lord. I developed a way to do that that is honoring to people as well as your own convictions, and it opens up a door for long lasting influence because
Mhm.
there's trust that's built into the process. So the chair, do you want me to share about the chair?
Yes, of course, of course. I love the chair.
You mentioned it, and so I'm like, well, maybe I should share
Yes.
about that. Okay, so when you invite somebody to pull up a chair, you're welcoming them into a conversation. It's like, yeah, hey, come sit down,
Mhm.
pull up a chair. It's like, sit at the table with me, right? It's an invitation. And if we can get into a mindset that conflict is not a bad thing, conflict is going to happen probably daily. What makes it bad is when we handle it poorly and then hurt feelings and emotions escalate and all of that. The conflict itself is not bad. So when we can have the attitude of, you know, welcoming somebody to into a conversation to understand more, then that's where the chair comes in. So it's an
Mhm.
acronym that is a self check. It's a heart check. It's the C is for courage, to be sure that to check to see if you're in a place to where you know what's more important than, oh, the anger or the doubt or the fear or whatever is trying to keep you from having the conversation. If you can look past that and see the end result of what could be so wonderful on the other side of this conflict and step in with courage with that. That's the C. The H is humility. And so to be able to acknowledge how passionate you feel about the situation, and also acknowledge that as much as you feel that, the other person feels that same conviction for their perspective. And so to
Mhm.
be able to just acknowledge that and step down a notch with thinking that we're up here and they're down here. Authenticity is A, and that is just be knowing that you really can be true to your convictions. So many times we get messed up in our
Yeah.
thinking that if we listen to somebody else and we disagree with what they're saying, that we're actually giving the impression that we agree simply because we're listening. And that's just not true. I mean, to listen to somebody is to show them respect and that you care to understand where they're at. And then
Right.
you have the opportunity to be real and authentic yourself when you give them that permission. So that's the A is authenticity. The I is integrity, checking your motivations for the conversation. Do I have a is there an ulterior motive? Do I have an agenda? Am I entering into this conversation because I really want to change their mind? That's, you know,
Mhm.
and if that's why, then I need to probably not have the conversation at that moment, because how, when I ask myself, how would I feel if this other person were entering the conversation for the sole purpose of changing my mind? That that takes away any trust. There's got to be
Right.
a trust foundation, to get anywhere. And so
Mhm.
that's the integrity. And then the R is respect, just to respect the other person because they're a person made in the image of God, just like you are, with purpose, just like you have. And just to, whether you respect the stance they take or not, to respect the person.
Yes, I love it. I think it's, you know, I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna put it on a sticky in my kitchen to remind me of all these things. And talking about each one of them, like in my case, when I think about courage, it's like, "Ugh, I'm not even gonna go there. I don't want to. Uh, and I don't have. But if I had the courage to say, hey, you know what? I didn't like the way you talked to me, or I don't agree with that, or whatever it is that we want to communicate, and maybe the conflict wouldn't have been so bad, and I wouldn't be resentful because I am keeping it and not having the courage to bring it up. So I can see how each one of these categories are actually very helpful, but at the same time, we have to be very conscious and do the work, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so this is before you ever enter into the conversation. There's a whole nother thing with the application of it when you're in the conversation, but this is just a self check and being willing to be wrong, being willing to check in with yourself and say, can I honestly look at this person across from me with courage, humility, authenticity, integrity, and respect? And if
Yes.
so, yes, um, I'm ready. If not, I probably need to pause.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also having that clarity, right?
Mhm, mhm.
In soul check-in, I would say. We have our friend Fish Stick USA, Anna and Brenda. This is a great title and topic. Unfortunately, I cannot stay on the live. We have to watch the replay. Please do, because it's really good. But thank you so much for visiting and just coming and say hi. We appreciate you. Thank you. And yeah, Mark is saying hello to Fish Stick. But yeah, so in um, in the topic, as we're uh, unpacking, like how can we apply the tools that you're providing us in the book, right? And how do you see this in a parent teenager relationship? How was that? Because we can do that, we can use the tools, but we also have to think about, okay, a teenager might not be at the same level of maturity that I'm using this. So, is there any tips that you can give us on that?
Well, I think that our teens learn so much from us by just by what they see us model. And so, even in what you shared with how you just modeled whatever happened with your husband, and you just kind of stepped back and did that. I think just in expressing to them and being honest, hey, I'm learning some stuff and this is really helping me. And then as they watch you operate in that, that leaves an impression. It does. But the thing about it is that after you do the heart check, when you step into that conversation, that whole application part is the word loud as an acronym. And so completely dismantling loud as we think of it and having an LOUD, and the L is listen. And so I think when we are able to sit with our teens and to say, can you tell me why you feel so strongly about this?
Mm.
And if we sit and listen, not to say, but that's wrong, but I taught you better, but this, there, whatever, just to listen to understand what they're saying. That makes such an impression on them. It gives the message that I really do care. I really do want to understand.
Yeah.
As we model that, listening that, owning your own biases that you have, and being aware that some of the things that may be being spoken to you may be setting off some alarms inside of you because of biases you have from your own life experiences, and then understanding as the you, understanding them at a deeper level, ask questions instead of letting everybody know what you think about what they're saying. Ask questions to gain more information, more insight. And then once we do that, once we go through that LOU really genuinely, then there's the opportunity to say, would you allow me to share with you why I feel like I do about this? And when you've listened with respect,
Mm-hmm.
I've never had anybody tell me no. It builds what I see as a trust bridge. It's like connection is built between me and that person with some trust that's been established because they see I'm not there to change your mind. I'm there to understand where you're at. And now would you listen to understand where I'm at? And
Yeah.
then D is do you develop new ways to move forward? So that does I do believe that helps with teens. I believe it helps with young children. I believe it helps with anybody because the reason we talk is we want to be heard, right?
Yes.
When,
Yes.
when we give them that gift of really being heard, that's honoring.
Absolutely. And but see, because they don't teach us this in school.
You're right.
And,
I didn't learn it early in life.
right,
Trust me.
and actually, if they were to teach this kind of techniques and slow down the children, as a children ministry director, I work with 4-year-olds and just bring in that level like, okay, let's slow it down. What is it that you want? What is it that you need? And just, I should apply that with my husband.
Those are good questions right there.
But just I think, and me being bilingual, I also, the language, there is so many barriers that now, after going through therapy, after reading your book and getting some other tools, I feel like, what have I been doing all my life? Because culture tells us that we need to speak because we want things, and we want, it's what I want and give it to me now. And it's not really, hey, let me play some attentive listening. And like Marcus said, curiosity helps with the listen. Like when you are curious and not just asking questions, but when you're curious about like, why are you asking me for that? Or what is the need that you have? And what is it that I have that I can help that need, right? Um, but I think what do you think about the culture and society and the world?
Yeah.
It makes it so difficult for us to listen and not being so loud, like you said.
I think a lot of it has to do with being that I culture. It's all about me, 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 me. You know, I want to be heard. I want my voice out there. I want this. I want that. And we forget that what a powerful principle you reap what you sow is. I mean, it's
Mm,
so powerful. And when we give people the gift of listening attentively, understanding, listening to really understand. Um, when we sow that, we tend to reap that.
mm,
But we aren't taught that. We're taught to, get out there and be loud and make our voice known. And the only thing that does is cause the people that already agree with us to go, "Yay, good job!" It influences nobody.
mhm.
So for those that we would like to influence. Okay, again, let me say this. There's a really fine line here that you could be manipulative. And so that's another thing with that heart check, that chair.
Yeah.
Because if we're listening in the sense of I'm gonna I'm gonna give so that I can get,
Um,
that's not a great heart place to be either. So really allowing ourselves to get to that place where I want to understand your perspective, and that being my sole focus while I'm listening. And that's very important. Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
We
It,
we're taught a lot of manipulative things as
oh,
far as communication goes. And it's ugly.
yes. I had this. I went to a conference and I was talking to the speaker and I said, "Hey, listen, I want to. I have a conflict with my at that time my other teenager, and I said it's like we can communicate. There is something in there." And she asked me a bunch of questions, and she told me she's like, "Well, it sounds to me like you're manipulating her." And I was like, so offended. No, not me. Like, what you talking about? And just that word, manipulation. I think it's a big, powerful word. And
Yeah.
when we don't want to own it.
No.
When we understand that there might be some of that, we don't want to own it because I don't want to be called manipulative. But when you pull out the chair, you find out that
Yeah.
that's I'm leveraging the situation. So I really, really appreciate how you break it down in the book, and it's a simple, because I'm basic. It's a simple way to digest that information and make you think of really what you own and what is it that you want to communicate. And like you said, it breaks a lot the conflict. Um, and friends, I have to share this real quick that when I started just the very first part of the book, when you described that dinner that you were mentioning earlier, I am reading it and I feel like I'm sitting at that table. It's so well written, and
It's
I just,
uncomfortable, isn't it? It's very
yeah,
uncomfortable.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And but I also it's like, okay, you're reading that part and you want to know what happened. You want to know what went down during that dinner. But I am so grateful that you were sitting there, and that's where God gave you that inspiration to help all of us on have better communication, because like you said, we want to have that connection with people. And right now, when it's so loud in all kinds of ways, politics, religion, name it,
Everywhere. Hmm.
right?
Yes, yes, everywhere. So, it's about
Marcus said,
loving people. Yes, Marcus, it is. It is about loving people. Um, and we forget how powerful that is as well. You know,
yes,
we've almost watered down loving people, uh, where there's a criticism for that if they have a different perspective than we do. And one of the things that I have seen that has been so beautiful during 2020, I stepped into a whole lot of conflicts using these principles. And what has been so rewarding, so life giving, is to be able to build relationships with people that don't think like me, but loving them well anyway. It's built a relationship with people that I never would have dreamed I would have had relationship with, but I know how they feel and they know how I feel, and we
mhm,
love and respect each other anyway. And that leaves room for long-term influence. You know, I
yeah,
think so many times we live in such a fast culture. We want things done quick, you know, let's get this over with, let's just do it, you know. And we don't take the time that's needed to build relationship to where there's a foundation of trust. I mean, when you look at Jesus, his whole 3 years of ministry was with 12 guys. I mean, that's
yeah,
who he poured into. And so, yeah, I think we need to take more time with one another.
yes. And in the book, you say something like, when you're having a conversation, I mean, you don't have to agree, right?
No, understanding does not require agreement. No,
Right.
it doesn't.
Yes.
My favorite sayings, because we have that twisted in our heads as well. And that if I care to ask you to, you know, I want to understand where you at or where you are at, that gives the impression that I agree with you. And why do we
Right.
think that? Why do we
Yeah.
think that? I,
Yes. But until I read that and highlight it in, with three different colors and circle it, I'm thinking, yes, like I want to win all the time. And when my husband's like, "You always want to be right," and I'm like, "But because I'm always right."
oh, I love that you said that. Can I share something with
Of
you? Let me
course,
tell you.
yes.
Well, I think I actually may have said this in the book too, but the three things that hang us up the most are wanting to be right, to be in control, and to look good.
Mm.
And if we can let go of those things and I know, right? I mean, everything I said in the book, I said it to myself so many times before I wrote that book. You know, this wasn't easy for me either. But we do. We want to be right. We want to be in control. We want to look good. And all three of those things, I just want to say they're an illusion. They really
Mhm.
are. Like,
Yeah.
what do we think right is? How many, like, there's so many perspectives to think that we and our way and exactly how I think is the only way that's right. That's just goofy. You know, to be in control, we have zero control over anybody else's thoughts,
Mhm.
opinions, actions, emotions. So, what do we think we're in control of? You know,
Yeah.
just let it go. And look
Mhm.
good is totally dependent on whoever the person is. You can look really great in one person's eyes and really awful in the other, doing the very same thing. So, all of it is an illusion. If we can just let go of that need, boy, it changes a lot.
Yes, be vulnerable, curious, and trying to listen to understand the other person, and being just like vulnerable right here and very honest. So I think in most of my conversations, just because that's the easiest example I have. It's with my husband. Uh, he has the part of the controlling, and I have the part of being right. And then having both of them was like, it's, the
It's never a
conflict.
win. It's
Yeah,
never a win. Yeah.
right. And if at least one of us will give up one of those things, but we're both at it, I'm controlling, I'm right. If one of us would be like, oh, wait a minute, why are you thinking that you're right? Or like, yeah, you
Even
have,
just to pause and ask the question, why
yeah.
do you feel so passionate about this? I want to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
It lets the walls down, the
Mm-hmm.
attitudes bring walls up between us and we're
Yeah,
like shouting at a wall. Um, yeah.
yeah,
Caring, curiosity, all of that. It brings the walls down when it's genuine.
yeah. That's right. Being genuine.
Mhm.
Well, I we can talk for hours and hours, and time flies when you're having fun. Let's see what Marcus says. I'm totally fine with people having different opinion. It will be boring world if we were all the same. Absolutely, I think that too. But that's when the respect come, right? Like
Yes. Yes.
wanting to disagree. We can disagree on having a different opinion, but it doesn't have to be bellic or start.
It doesn't have to be an argument just because you disagree.
Yes. Sometimes I enjoy to argue about things that are totally meaningless. Well,
Sometimes people do.
right, and it could bring the spice into a conversation. So, but Marcus, you are so peaceful. Like I can't picture you, you know, being or arguing with someone. But anyway, so friends, I can say, after a year in a little bit of therapy, I could say that this book goes hand in hand with it.
Mm.
And it supports a lot of the tools that I'm gaining through therapy. And I can't wait to start applying. And like you said, it works if you put in the work. So I want to invite everybody to get a copy. They can get a copy of the book at your website right here, and I'll leave it in the comments, the links, and it's also on Amazon, right?
Yes, Amazon and Barnes and Noble both. Yes.
Yes, and also the link so you can follow her page of Loud is Not a Language on Facebook. I think it's also on Instagram.
Brenda Cox Harkins.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. Got it. And friends, before we let Miss Brenda go, I want to bring some fun. Not that we're not having fun, but if you're for it, I have 5 rapid fire questions. See, to get to know Ms. Brenda a little bit more. Are you up for it?
Oh, I guess so. Yes. Fire away.
Well, you have no option. Here we go. We're gonna bring our little wheel. Wheel pick. What was the last picture you took with your phone?
A scripture, actually. You want
All
me to look?
right.
It,
Yes.
yeah, there it is right there. Don't have anything to do with foolish and stupid arguments. Timothy 2:23. Yeah, because they produce quarrels. That's what I took with my phone.
That's awesome. Good. Friends, and if you're joining us, we would like for you to play with us. So leave your answers in the comment. That would be fun. Let's see. Let's go for the next one. Hey, speaking of social media platforms, what do you prefer, Facebook or Instagram?
I am more comfortable with Facebook, but I'm starting to like Instagram better.
There's less ads, I think, right?
Yeah.
On Instagram. Yeah. I thought I was too old for Instagram, but I'm starting to like it too. Yeah. Name one of your gifts or talents.
Ah, well, so I immediately go to the Gallup Strengths, and learner is one of them. I love learning new things. Yes, I never
That's
get tired of it.
That is a great, great gift because there's so much to learn in this life, right? Okay, what's your favorite childhood book?
You know what? Charlotte's Web.
Really? That
Yes.
was, I never read the book, but I saw the movie and I can imagine. Yeah. And the last one, which I already read, tacos or pizza?
Oh, tacos.
A
Yes.
100%. I mean, you cannot say pizza if you live in Texas, right?
Right. Especially when you're raised here.
Yes, yes. So, what part of Texas are you
I'm in the DFW area, Dallas Fort
in?
Worth. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're not far. I'm
We
in
are
Magnolia, in the outskirts of Houston.
about
So,
4 hours away. That's not too bad.
yeah, yeah. We've been there once, and I loved it. You know, it's a really, really nice place. Well, Miss Brenda, I just want to thank you so, so much for your time, for being here, for sharing wisdom, and I hope we can do this again.
I would love that. It's
You
been
know,
a joy.
sometimes. Thank you, thank you, friends. Please don't forget to you again. You can find the book on Amazon, and it's in Kindle and um,
Hardback,
hard
paperback.
paperback. Yes, and I got mine. I have to say that it's also my very first book on Kindle because I resisted for the longest time because I'm the one that kind of liked the pages. But since I was going to travel and I was restricted on what I could bring, I was like, "Ah, I'm going to do this." And it's amazing.
It is cool. You can even highlight in Kindle, right?
Yeah, yeah, I didn't know. And then I didn't even need my glasses because you can make the print bigger. So yeah, there's an extra tip, friends. Well, thank you so much again. Friends, don't forget next Thursday we are ending with August and we're gonna start a new topic next month. You want to be here for that. And I have already lined up amazing people as well. And again, Ms. Brenda, thank you so much. God bless you for the work you're doing and changing lives. Just
Thank
one
you.
right there.
Ah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy.
You, thank you, thank you. Bye bye, friends. We'll see you next time.